Hey, what is going on, crypto people? It is the Crypto Siege with another day in the life and the crazy life that is the digital asset space. Good morning. Happy Thanksgiving to each and every one of you. I hope you take some time to reflect on how awesome that you are. And hopefully you are in a position to recognize this is an opportunity to be grateful for everything that we have. Interesting stuff today. The more and more I look at what's going on with Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX and Congress and regulators, it is a very, very sad thing because I know that in the end, a lot of innocent people in this space get hurt. People that were just trying to win ended up being hurt. And it's very, very sad. I read a tweet about a grandmother who took her life because her grandson had convinced her that putting money on Celsius would be safe, would be secure, would get this incredible rate, so that she could everything that she had worked for, she put there, so that she could, retire and have a steady cash flow coming in. And when I think about the fact that FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, and Alameda, this concerted effort to take the likes of Celsius and Voyager, Terra Luna down, the intentional effort to harm people. I was asking this Crypto Siege, well, who do you think gave Sam Bankman-Fried access to regulators? Like, how does a dude who was one day just arbitrage trading one day now gets access to the CFTC? Right? How does that happen? Who opens the doors? Right? It can't be just his parents. His parents have to go to someone. And why was he allowed to infiltrate? Right? Why was he allowed? Because the fact of the matter is that the SEC was warned about this guy before the crashes. Warned, and they ignored him. They were warned on more than one account about this guy and what he was doing. Right? Who at the SEC says, yeah, we're just not going to pay attention to that? Why was he meeting with the chair at the SEC? You got to get, and the innocent people, the average everyday Joe and Jane, get hurt. And in the end, this was about taking down influential crypto platforms. Now, who would want to take down 3AC, Voyager, Celsius? Think about it. What were those people doing? Especially Celsius and Voyager. They were giving you an opportunity to earn money on your money. Now, who would not want that to happen? The regulators. Which regulators? The banking regulators. Well, who's running the banking regulators? I challenge you to look into Sullivan and Cromwell. I challenge you to look into it. Right? A few months ago, I put out a tweet that says we can no longer afford to be naive about what's going on here. There's a war going on. You got to get that. There's war going on. They do not want you to walk away from the banking space and be responsible for choosing your own money, saving your own money, choosing your own money, and being able to earn on that money. You can say what you want about Voyager and Celsius and risk management, and you can say all that stuff that you want to. But ultimately, they were disrupting the banking regulator model. That's what they were doing. That's what they were doing. And they got so big, they had to be taken down. Nothing excuses the fact that Once you realize you're in trouble, you don't go YOLOing into something to try to make it up. Once you realize that you know this thing that you propped up is being attacked and it's going to take down the value of your treasury, doesn't mean that you have permission now to take user funds to try to make it up, to try to make a difference, to try to catch up. You can't do that. It's you can't do it. And they did. Alex Mashinsky, people at Celsius, they tried to make it up and it didn't. Nope, can't do it. It's just illegal to do, period. But it doesn't take away from the fact that there was a concerted effort to take down those who were trying to do something good for the average Joe and Jane. And that's what happened. In the end, that's what happened. And again, I want to point this out. It does not excuse those who would take user funds without our permission and go putting it in places that we never gave you permission to do. It doesn't excuse that. But we cannot forget that there's a war going on. And that war is on for you and I to not walk away from the liquidity pool of the banking regulators. They run the world, period. And what they want to do is give you 0.05% on your money while they keep the rest. That is the real truth. That is the real truth. And Congress was warned repeatedly about this FTX guy. And nothing was done. That's a sad, sad thing. So listen, guys, this is your XRP Ripple daily news in around 0 to 10 minutes. Let's take a listen to this video from Crypto Eddie, with the CEO from CME, and what he was saying, what he recognized. And the thing I like about this CEO, right? There's a difference between this CEO and Charles Hoskinson, who a 30-something-year-old who thinks that he knows everything. Conspiracy? What are you talking about? What? I mean, what are you talking about? The SEC was what? Are you kidding me? Why would they? The naivety of a 30-something-year-old. Why? Just you think he's brilliant just because you think he knows all just because of Cardano and his work at Ethereum? You got to get the real deal. Someone who's been around for a while can recognize a fraud and understands that things like this in Congress and manipulation and money and all, it happens all the time. You think the CEO of CME doesn't know where the real war is being fought? And that there is, in fact, a real war going on?
8. Let's hear what the chairman and CEO had to say about Sam Bankman-Fried's model back in May.
And dynamically setting margin levels and auto liquidation and transparent models. I mean, it's actually really cool idea. So I really commend you on it. And I really want to understand it more. And I am completely agnostic about it. What if you get your models wrong?
So
because if you get your models wrong, it's all wrong.
Yep.
All right.
Absolutely. So there are a number of things. We've gone through an extensive process with the CFTC on this, on the details of the model, on the back testing of it, both the historical data with simulated data under all of the necessary standards. In addition to that, we have been running a model that this would be more conservative than internationally for the last 3 years. It has gone through days with 40% moves in markets in a single day. We just went through a 40% move over a few days. It has been functioning well in that environment, handling tens of billions of dollars of daily volume. We've never had to mutualize losses. We have never gotten close to that point. The entire insurance fund draw over the history is a tiny fraction of what we're proposing for our own skin in the game.
And on that proposal of auto liquidation, so one of the things that FTX does not tell you, or this committee, is what they do for collateral. When I take on collateral, whatever form it may be, cash, treasuries, gold, whatever I have a mix of, we have to haircut that at a certain value. Their haircut on their collateral for Bitcoin is 5%. Their margin to trade Bitcoin is 15% of margin. this auto liquidator will be going with smoke coming out of it at those price levels. That is the problem with this application, and you need to hear the whole truth about this.
The gentleman's time has expired. Thank you.
And that's the problem, right? The gentleman's time has expired. They don't want to listen. They don't want to open their ears to reality of the situation. Listen to what Crypto Eddie says here afterwards. This is very important.
So Duffy's time might have expired at that moment in the hearing when nobody would listen to him, but this man has been awarded a public soapbox, and I think it doesn't have any timer. The congressman, by the way, that thought that the FTX model was so cool was the chair of the Democratic Campaign Committee.
The chair of the Democratic Campaign Committee. Just marveling at Sam Bankman-Fried, the fraudster. Just marveling. And again, I want to point out to you that both Congress and the SEC, that hearing was in May, before collapses. I think it might have even been before Terra Luna. I think Terra Luna might have been March. Can't really remember. But certainly before the Celsius collapse, warned about this guy. Take a listen to the CEO here again, just recently, of the CEO of CME.
How long did it take you to figure out that this guy was a fraud?
Well, Melissa, I don't know if I knew he was a fraud right away. I just didn't, know what his business was. Here he is. He's trading an inefficient arbitrage out of Hong Kong, making all this money supposedly. And the next thing I know, he's going to buy CME, he's going to buy Goldman Sachs and everybody else. He's making all these different allegations of what he wants to do. So I met him, as you said, when I gave Guy and Dan the podcast the other day. But what is really interesting is how this whole thing came about, which kind of got my interest up about he is a fraud. And I met earlier in the day with the head of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, and I asked, why are you not dismissing this application out of hand? And he said, because under Section 5B of the Commodity Exchange Act, which calls for innovation, he has to look at it. And I said to him, you don't have to, under the Commodity Exchange Act, have to accept anything that's innovation that puts risk management at the back seat of this. And that's exactly what was going on. So right away, my suspicions were up. Why is there so much pressure coming for this application? Then when I met with him, I knew right away, I said, this is a joke. This is absolutely going nowhere. And then you look who he's traveling with. He's traveling with Mark Wiegand, the former chairman of the CFTC. Now, what was Mark doing for him? I have no idea. Was it credibility or just carrying his briefcase, or I should say his backpack? And then he's got Ryan Miller. Ryan Miller is the former counsel at the CFTC and became general counsel of the CFTC. And this guy's sitting at a bar, could barely pick his head up, saying to me, why won't you let us grow? I said, he said he's worth $26 billion. I'm assuming you've been growing pretty good here. So you could see there was so many different red flags. And then when I got to Washington, you're looking at people like Mike Conway, former head of the ad committee, who was an FTX lobbyist. And I heard all these different things coming out of members of Congress. Were they putting pressure on the CFTC? I don't know.
And then in the podcast, I think is interesting. Were they putting pressure on the CFTC? He says, I don't know. But that's basically saying they were, because he does know. He has a great sense of it because he's been in that business for a while. So he may not have factual because he wasn't in a particular room, but he knows the ongoings and what happens. He knows the ongoings and what happens. This all this political donations and stuff comes into play. The dude was put there for a reason. Sam Bankman-Fried was put in position for a reason. I ask you again, Fidelity is in the crypto. Why isn't Fidelity having gone down? Why haven't they gone down? Charles Schwab, crypto. Why haven't they gone down? JP Morgan in the crypto. Why haven't they gone down? Why haven't they gone down? Right? You just gotta ask yourself why. Why isn't that? Why the major crypto firms went down? Right? And you got the people who invested into this whole FTX thing. It's just absolutely unbelievably incredible that they would have done that. And this guy says it's just not about crypto. It was about this dude being an absolute fraud, being put in place for a reason. The first thing that should ring the alarms is that Elizabeth Warren gets on Twitter and starts talking about how we need to do something. That should be the first alarm. She's bought and sold by the banksters, the banking regulators. That's where the real fight lies, in my humble opinion. So very, very important to get the bigger picture. You got to get that the digital asset space, my friends, offers you and I an opportunity to choose our own money, choose our own monetary policy. It gives us a chance to keep it protected and safe ourselves without having to rely on these third parties, like a bank, for example. You got to get how revolutionary that is, that we're in a position to do that. And old money doesn't want you to win. That is the ultimate truth, my friends. They don't want us to win. Oh, no. Walk away from their liquidity pool. They're not trying to have that. They're not trying. And what they're trying to do right now is to turn this space over to their banking buds. So we have to go through them. That's what they're trying to do. And we have to fight that fight. We have to fight their fight. There's a reason why the DeFi space were up in arms about this DCCPA thing and what Sam Bankman-Fried was trying, and his thing, what he was trying to put out there. Think about that. If they can get rid of decentralized finance, we'd have to go through them. That's the fight. Just be aware of it, understand that, and level up your IQ on what's really, really going on. I highly recommend you do that, because it's a fight here. And it is about our freedom to choose the money that we want and the monetary policy that we want. We've given them their shot. They can't figure it out. They can't figure it out. So, CBDCs, cool. I'm not participating. You got to get that. Once you get to, you have a choice to not participate. That's the key. This madness that's going on over there in China is just unbelievable. Do you want that? Everybody got red listed. Can't travel, can't do anything anymore over the beer cold. Brutal stuff. All right, guys, listen. I didn't want to do a kind of somber video, but I just think it's important that we understand that we have to pay attention to the real war that is going on. It's not just about William Henman and emails. That was obvious that he was bought and paid. But again, look at the ties to Sullivan Cromwell. Pay attention to the bigger picture, right? And what can you do about that? Is you got to have the ability to choose your own money and choose your own monetary policy. What they want us to do is to feel helpless. That's what they want, so that we just give up and give in. But don't do that, my friends. Never ever feel helpless. What you do matters. Leveling up your IQ about the real fight matters. Understanding what it is that you hold matters. Choosing your own money, storing your own money, and having the choice to do so, it matters. Let's take the fight to them, my friends. All right, guys, listen, I'm going to end this video. This has been your XRP Ripple Daily News in about 0 to 10 minutes. I hope it has been of value to you. If it has, do me a favor, hit that like button. And if you enjoy the hangout, please consider subscribing to the channel and ringing that notification bell so you know whenever we go live or whenever we upload a video. I'm going to end this one like I do all my videos and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. They don't want us to win. They would rather that we remain a cog in their perpetual wheel of trading our time for dollars. They don't want us to play in the same playground that they play in, where we allow our money to work for us. This is our chance to win, guys. The digital asset space is our chance to win. We are in the midst of the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of man. Are you participating, or are you standing on the sidelines? Here's what I do know, that the battle for you has already been fought, and the victory is yours. Go get it.